Hello. Welcome to
Hi.
a welcome to an RUPL interview with Pix, one of the managers of the Iron Fisters. How are you today?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. So, shall we get straight into the questions, or is there anything you'd like to say first?
No, I think we can get straight into the questions.
Okay. So, first things first. Uh, how did you get started on Smogon?
So I think the way I found Smogon was through PokeAim, his YouTube channel. I believe it was 2017 or 2018. He advertised OST, and I saw it. I was like, that looks cool. Huge Pokemon tournament. Let me sign up. So yeah, in that 2017-18 range. Um, and then at the time, I started off, I guess, as you would say, a mainer in ORAS, ORAS OU. That was like the main tier I played in tournaments. But recently, past couple of years, I branched off and started playing a lot of lower tiers, mainly PU and RU. I just love the way, I love how they change every month and just the diversity of mons. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. And about what time did you get into RU particularly?
I would say I always played it casually on the ladder, but I don't think I really played it in tournaments until last year, last RUPL in particular, where Barado bought me on the Deranged Hustlers, and we ended up winning that tour. Um, and I really liked the metagame at the time, so I just continued to play RU tours and did well in a few of them.
Okay, so that RUPL in question, was that your first RUPL?
Yes, it was.
How did
I,
that
I,
go?
it was good. Like I said, we won the tour. I finished with a 7-1 record. Um, which was really, really nice to have.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
record.
yeah, and our team was great. Barado was great. And yeah, like I said, it really got me into RU. The metagame itself, I thought at the time was really good. I just really liked like Florges, Arcanine, all of those Pokemon were viable, and I just thought the meta was very balanced, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I remember that meta. It was a fun one.
Indeed.
So, how did you approach this draft?
So this draft, the way I typically approach drafts in lower tier tournaments, whether it be RUPL or I've managed SCL before, is I prioritize getting builder. I want to make a balance of builders and people who are very passionate about the meta games they're playing and very active, and older, and a balance with older, more proven players that might have that experience in game. So that's the approach I took with this draft as well. Um, I started off with my draft plan. I really wanted Sensei Axio, and I really wanted Master Chief. Those were like the two buys I really wanted to get. Um, and then Ban Manaphy, who I also got as a friend of mine, so I got him to sign up. So yeah, those three were the ones I wanted to build around. And then I wanted to prioritize just getting active help and active chat presences around them. And if I saw a steal in the draft, I would just grab them. Like I think I got Cyanize for 7K, which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, definitely a good deal for them. I've got them down as 5.5 actually.
Oh,
So
five. Yeah,
yeah,
even better.
bigger steal.
Yep.
So tell me about your team.
So the Fisters, yeah, we have Let me pull up our lineup real quick. We have such a deep roster that I think we'll end up swapping things around just so that everyone gets a chance to play.
Yeah, you do have the largest roster in the tour.
Yep. And we have some really good players like Ampha who are starting on our bench, so I really want to give them a chance to play. But starting out the starting lineup, we're going to have Sensei Axu in best of 3. Sensei's just been one of the best lower tier players in general over the past couple of years. I know he hasn't played RU as much, but he's motivated for this RUPL. I think he's going to do really well. And yeah, like I said, he's just a great player in general. So I was really happy to get him. And then our 3 SV starters are going to be Master Chief, Mana, and Atomic Llamas. Master Chief just won Ladder Tour. He's been on a roll this meta. And again, he really, really likes the meta. So I'm excited to work with him, see what he cooks and see how he plays. Mana's a really good friend of mine. He isn't really known as a lower tier player. I think most people would view him as an ADVOU player or old gen player. But he gets into lower tiers sometimes. Like he played SCL, he played PU and SCL. His team won ZUPL last year. And he's motivated to learn RU, so I'm excited to see what he does. And then Atomic Llamas, I didn't actually plan on getting him. But we had money to spend late in the draft, and I thought he would be a good addition to our team because not only is he a decent player, a proven player, but he has old gen knowledge, especially in ORAS, so he can help Rob Jr. and ORAS out with teams, or if we ever need to swap them, he just gives us the versatility to swap. Then in SS, we got Dunox, who is a French player. I believe he went 4-1 last year, and I've teamed with him on other teams. He's very solid, so I'm excited to see what he does. In Sun and Moon, we have Cyanize, who I mentioned before, who I thought was a steal, 5.5k, as you pointed out. Definitely one of the better players in the pool, but the pool itself is really stacked, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. But I have faith that they'll do really well. In ORAS, we have Rob Jr., who was my teammate last year on the Hustlers. He played ORAS. I believe he went 5-2 when he played ORAS, and then he swapped to SS. But Rob's just like Sensei. He's just been one of the best lower tier players in general over the past 5 or so years. So he's a great addition. And then in Black and White, to round it off, we have Phoenix. Another player who I've bought in a lot of tours. I bought him in PUPL a couple times. He's just a really solid overall Black and White player. He plays all of the Black and White lower tiers, and he's a super active presence. So I'm again excited to have him.
Yeah, I played with Phoenix during the RU World Cup most recently, and he did a good job there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you have to say about your substitutes?
So my substitutes, I think I already mentioned Ampha. He's starting on the bench, although he's very deserving of a starting spot because he's proven himself a lot over the past year or so. So he'll definitely get a chance to play. He's solid. He's super active. Really happy with I was able to get him for 4K. So yeah, really happy with him. Then we have Ming 549. I wasn't familiar with him before the auction, but Master Chief told me that he's a really good builder and suggested I get him. So I trust the Master Chief, so I picked him up, and so far he's been super active. He's been helping with building, so I'm really happy we were able to get him. And he seems like a really cool guy too. Then we have Stories, who formerly was Taghi. They're a super active lower tier player. They build in a lot of meta games, and they're a friend of mine, so I wanted to pick her up. Again, she's similar to Ming. She's a super active chat presence, super active builder on the bench, which I feel like you can never have too many builders in tours like these, but especially with metagames constantly changing. In SV, you want people who are on top of the metagames and coming up with new ideas. And then, we do have Clementine, who is our black and white sub. Again, Master Chief suggested we get him. I heard he's pretty solid in black and white, and he does build the tier, which having people who build new teams and old gens is a really good thing to have, because a lot of times people will just reuse teams. So having that builder can help give you an advantage. And then lastly, we have Larry, who formerly went by Leru on Smogon. He's one of my good friends. He and Mana are two very good friends of mine, and he's a proven player. He's played in SCL. He played last RUPL. So he's just an overall solid, proven player. Sort of like a super sub. He can kind of go into anything and succeed. So that will be his role. He'll just be the super sub on the team.
Sounds like a solid roster.
Yeah, it does.
So, moving on to the other teams in the tour, who do you think is the most threatening?
I did actually make a list. Let me pull up that list right now. So my list, I had the technicians at the top, managed by Franklin and Floss. I just think Franklin and Floss themselves are really, really good players. Both of them have been really dominant in SCL over the past couple of years, as well as RUPL and RU individual tours. So just those two having the ability to buy themselves as managers gave them a great advantage. And I just think they rounded out their roster well. They don't have too many weak spots, and they have a lot of strong players. So I think they'd probably be my number one team going into the season. And then I would probably have the Bombers number two. Again, they have, similar to the technicians, they have Ajna and Fellyburn, two proven great managers, and two proven great players as managers, and they were able to self-buy, which gives them a huge advantage in the draft, in my opinion. And I think the Bombers are a little more risky in terms of success compared to the technicians, because they opted to go the general tournament player routes instead of the lower tier / RU player route. But they got some great players. It will just be whether those players are motivated and whether I think their building is up to par with the other teams. If they are motivated and their building is up to par, I think they could be a super threatening team, especially in playoffs.
And
Then, go ahead.
no, you can continue.
Oh, I was gonna say the Guardians probably third, and then I think the Hustlers, Chains, Payloaders, Crunchwraps are all like sort of in a similar level in my eyes. I don't think any team is bad. I think every team has a really solid chance of making playoffs.
Okay, so that you did bring up an interesting point about the self-buying, because you were the only team not to have a manager self-buy, I believe.
hmm So the reason I didn't self-buy was, well, the first reason, I think, due to my record last year, I would have been over 20K, I believe, to self-buy. And as of, I've managed a lot of lower tier tours, and what I've learned is usually when I self-buy and I'm playing myself, it takes away from my ability to manage the team and help other slots, because I'm focusing on my own slot. Um, so I just wanted to be able to focus on being the manager of the team and not have to worry about playing myself. And then I could invest that 20K or however much it was into other great players like Sensei and like Master Chief, who are just as good, if not better, than I am.
Yeah, and that's certainly understandable. So, one last thing to talk about. What are you mostly excited to see in the upcoming RUPL?
I think what I'm most excited to see is for my team in particular is our building and just our activity levels. Like I mentioned before, we have Ampha, we have Ming, we have Taghi all on the bench, and then we have Master Chief and other super active and involved players starting. And I'm just excited to see the teams we build and how we interact as a team and how much fun we can have as a team. I'm also excited to see new players that I haven't seen or played before, like Ming, like Clementine, just get a shot to show what they're made of. Because I really like when new players get to come up. So I think I'm just most excited to see who the new talents are on my team and on other teams, and see who separates themselves this RUPL as a top player.
Okay, and that's all the questions I have. So, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think I'm good. Well, actually, I will. If anyone ever wants to DM me about anything, my Discord is Vulpix, like the Pokemon, and then 03 at the end. Um, I just love lower tiers, and I love helping new people get into lower tiers, whether it's RU, whether it's PU, or whatever. So if you ever have questions or need help with anything, just feel free to shoot me a DM.
Sounds good. So, uh, with that, we're coming to an end of the interview. Thank you for joining me and answering my questions.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
It was. So, once again, this has been Pix from the Iron Fisters. Wishing you luck in the upcoming season,
Thank you.
and goodbye, everyone.